Hello and welcome to this timetabling session. And what we're going to do here is use our timetabling tool to timetable 4 full-time 16 to 19-year-old courses using two lecturers in one workshop. So we've got to achieve 100% utilization for the lecturers. We're going to have to be able to get out of a workshop in the 39-hour week. We're going to have to be able to get out about 32 hours, 30 plus hours really of workshop time. We're going to get out 32 only here, and we're going to have to integrate the maths and English. So what we've achieved in the end is, you can see there's our two level 1 courses, there's the level 2, and there's the level 3. So we've got all this nicely integrated English and maths on the same days. And in terms of our practical amount of time in each of the levels, a nice big lump of time as well in practical, academic, tutorial, and a bit of and a theory lesson as well, somewhere along the line. So how do we achieve it? Well, the first thing I did was I created my English and maths blocks here. So this is the block pattern that I went for, and the reason why I went for this pattern here was that I'd have a maths and English departmental meeting here. I've gone for no more than 3 colours on a day, so no more than 3 blocks in a day. So I can have multiple courses within those blocks, but no more than 3 separate blocks on a day, because I didn't want to have more than 4. I don't want to have 4 groups in a particular area on the day, as that would overwhelm the workshop. And I've laid it out like this to try and get this kind of available practical time. And before I start to play around with the start and end of days, this would give me my available practical hours, and then I'm going to jiggle around with the lunch breaks and the end of the day, which is going to then extend those practical amounts out. I'm going to typically use level 1 on my block 2s and blocks 3s, and I'm going to use my level 2 and 3s on block 1s and block 4. So that's how I started. I timetabled the maths and English staff members within that pattern. So here they all are, and we can see I've timetabled 4 staff members out, 2 maths, 2 English, and you can see there's no clashes with them. And there's their staff utilization, so 100% here, 24 hours in a week for this set of staff members, 24 contact hours. So that's the pattern there, no clashes, and we can see how they're doing. Everybody gets to eat as well, and they're all in reasonable time periods. I also as well put them into rooms as well, so they've all got their own room, and we can, somebody else can use that if they wanted to at that time. So how did I go about that? Well, first of all, so this is how it looks in the end. Here, how do we get to there? First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in just the 4 courses. Let me just put them in. 4 courses. Yeah. And you can see that this is our maths and English pattern that comes from those 4 blocks. So what we've got is we've got our groups coming in, and they don't overlap. So none of the actual maths and English courses are overlapping. They're not in the same time slots. So they're not taking out our workshops at that same thing. They are all staggered. And we only have at most, I think there's 3 groups, isn't there, on a Wednesday. So I've only got that the most. I've never got 4 groups in. So as a consequence, I can fit a lot of practical into this thing through just the one workshop. So that's ready first. Just make sure that my week my maths block pattern is sensible, and that works out. Second thing then is I've started now to timetable some of groups. So I've dropped in my first one, and so here's group 1. In comes a maths pattern, and I'm going to start to put the lessons on it. So I've decided to go in my practical first. I put my least flexible resource first, which is my workshop. So I've got timetable my practical out first, and I had a good plan from my blocks there. This was where my practicals were going to be set out here. So on the basis of that block pattern, I can do these practicals here, and I'm just going to start dropping all the hours in. So load them all in as I go along. You can see that as I put each of the hours in and loaded it up, I've got the grey. The greens are where the actual person is. Greys are where they're used for something else. So they're not available. So if I timetabled into that slot, it would come all turn red as a clash. And I just went along. Now, initially, what I do is I put the staff member in and then I timetable, put the hours in separately after that. And then we can see is it's now building itself up. So there's the next one. I've been going through. I just do this as I'm going along. So what we can see is as we build it up, it's going through and it's sort of saying, right, no, you can't use that staff member. You've already used them there. And so this makes it very easy to sort of see where the staff member is available. What's the next thing? So I've already blocked out my English and maths and saying you can't timetable there. But I'm also as well blocking out the session in terms of when is that staff member available. So as I go along, you can see as it's building itself up, it's changing all the numbers as well in previous ones and giving me ideas about where I'm going to go. So if I now go, let's take those hours out here. No, it's 3:32. Let's just put that in. Okay. So we've not put the hours in for this one. We just took them out there, and I want to get them in. I'm going to have to put them on a Tuesday. I can look at what's available. So this is our brick lecture number 2. I decided to use here. You can see on a Tuesday when they're available. Here we're going to go. Well, we're going to drop them in from 1. Let's go from 1. What was it now? 1:30 to 2:45. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to force a clash first of all. Let's say I'll put it into to 3 o'clock there, like that. I'll fire a clash in. And we can see here that it's telling me that, no, hang on, your English and maths is already there. You'll have to drop that back to 3 o'clock. So I'll take that back, drop that back to 3 o'clock, and reload it in. And there we are. And so it's just a question of just playing around with that. You can see that I've achieved a lunch break. 1, 2, 3. And as I'm going through as well, I can just highlight. Let's put that practical time in as well. And I can just highlight, have I hit what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to go 12 hours, 12 vocational hours. And then, all right, okay, so I put a little bit too much in there. And I'm just going to drop that one back. What was it now? I'm going to just take that back to 3:45. And that'll be 12 hours for that course as well. So I had a plan as well of what I wanted to achieve, not just in terms of practical times as well as my vocational my theory times and the academic tutorial. You can see as I've been going through, I've been putting in different sort of types. Now in this instance here, I've got weightings going on, so I could be using weightings for the actual lesson type as well. So I decided that my academic tutorial is only going to be weighted at 1 in this particular world here, but I could change that. It could be whatever it's going to be weighted at. Similarly, I could put in the departmental meeting. I could put it in a weighting of 0, so I could put it in there, block the time out. Or similarly, a staff member might not be available for a particular day. I could timetable a day on what's an event type called block out. And there would be a weighting of 0, but it would block it out, so I wouldn't make a mistake and timetable them when they're actually not available. And so what you can see is here we are with our timetables building up, and as I'm going along and producing them, I think, well, I've got to actually sort of timetable at some point around here. And so there we go. There's all of my timetables. Actually, I went for a long practical session, didn't I? That one. Yeah, went from a 9 o'clock onwards session there. And that's how I built up the timetables. So here is, I'll now switch this on here. And I'll put in my brick lecturer. There's the brick lecturer, all sitting at 24 hours. There's the other brick lecturer. There. So they've all had their lunch break, staggered around as well, staggered lunch break, so that they can get away from not being hit by massive queues, which I wanted to achieve as well within this. I'll switch my courses on, Here's my course timetables. There's my brick course here. You can see staggered out lunch breaks as well compared to other people. There's my integration of my English and maths. So my students should be able to come in, and my lecturers can remind them, get yourself to maths this afternoon. Um, and there's the second level 1 course. Here's the level 2 course, and there's the level 3 course. And of course, the big challenge is, did this work? Let's switch that on. Did this work for our workshop? There's our workshop. And here's our workshop with 32 hours in. So 32 of the 39, I'm hitting some very high utilization there through that workshop. But I only had one group in the workshop at a time. So I didn't overload it by having to go for 2 groups in the workshop. I achieved that with the one thing. And it was very much down to the maths pattern together with the tool there. I can always have a look around, and I can sort of see whether is there a way, should I have a look and try and, can I play around with this and perhaps extend it out? So when I had these open then at the end, I sort of would move little half an hours here. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd be chopping this back a touch, really. So I don't know. We might agree with the lecturer that we're only going to go for a half an hour lunch and drop it back, which is probably more like what would more likely happen once I've agreed it. Similarly, I could have a look here and see, well, I could close that a little bit up there if I wanted to, but there's no real benefit from that perspective. Here, could I do that? I could move that a little bit into there. Actually, I wanted to sort of get the lecturers to go and march my students to English and maths, so I probably would close that up for them there, and I can pull that back into there. So I can sort of sit and look at these things. Is there methods of doing it? I think probably actually I couldn't do that one because I had the staff member in there, so that would cause a clash if I do it. But what I do is I don't have any clashes in this timetable. They've all been highlighted to me as I was developing the tool and going through. So it prevented clashes, stops them, and really makes it a much easier way to do it. So that's how it works. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.